What's up, everybody? And welcome to another, yet again, or not again, well, not again, I'm stuttering already, to a 7.3 Arms Warrior guide. And the reason I'm making this video is because I feel like some of these other guides out there, they miss points, or they don't really give too many tips, or they kind of answer simple questions. So I'm here to hopefully answer those and get to the point and clear up anything that might be in the confusion area for you. And if I do happen to miss anything, or if there's any other questions, just I'll try to answer them in comments. But anyway, we're going to jump right in. We're going to go into rotation. Not going to do gear too much. I can do another video on that if you want. But anyway, best in slot legendaries. We'll do that real quick just to get the baseline. Your helm and your ring. And two other legendaries which do have uses that are fairly good in the current situations. Alright, anyway, so in terms of rotations, there's two, well, I'm going to go ahead and say three, even though there's not. There's your main single target build, which is going to be Dauntless, Rend, Opportunity Strikes, once you have your 4-piece, or if you don't even have, well, once you have your 4-piece from Tomb. Not going to go into gear too much, but just make sure you have your 4-piece. If you don't, then go get it, because it's important. Anyway, so, and I'm going to go ahead into single target and cleave rotation. So for this first build, you're going to go ahead and want to do this. There is another build that uses this and this, but I don't recommend it. It's not very good. It's kind of shit. It might be viable next year, though. It is technically viable, and it's fairly good for leveling, and if you barely hit 110, you don't have a lot of mastery. So anyway, moving on. This is going to be your main single target build that you're going to be playing with. So like Maiden, Goroth. And there also is another thing you can do with Ravager if you have a Convergence of Fates, and we'll go into that as well. So going into rotation with this, you're going to want to use Bladestorm with your 4-piece properly. If you don't have your 4-piece, don't do this. If you're wondering why I'm in Draenor, is so that I can actually have 3 target dummies to show off some other things and a single target. And also so I can show off the execute rotation properly. So you're going to want to go ahead and charge in, hit Rend, and then Battlecry Bladestorm, even if you get a ring proc there. And now, standard rotation is follow. I'm just going to pretend I don't have execute available. Keep Rend up, refresh Rend at about 2 seconds left, 2.4 seconds or something like that. And then use Slam as your filler and just keep Rend on. So this is your normal rotation, and I do have a GCD tracker here at the bottom to kind of show you what I'm doing. Alright, now for execute rotation, and I'm going to clear up a question, and this is what I do on how to use Rend during execute. So your execute rotation is as follows. Execute, execute, Colossus Smash, Mortal Strike. Execute, execute, Colossus Smash, Mortal Strike. And now here, I'm going to pretend I get a proc there. If you're running Rend and execute, and I've already got 2 of these on, 2 EPs, go ahead and apply Rend, and then when you get this back up, go ahead and use Colossus Smash again, and then continue with the rotation. So right here I have 2 EPs, Rend is about to fall off, might as well refresh Rend, and keep the rotation going. And same thing for using your Bladestorm during execute phase. You just want to go ahead and get 2 EPs on the target from using execute twice. Colossus Smash, Rend, and then Battlecry Bladestorm, so that you have Rend going in the middle of Bladestorm, and it's still hitting. Alright, so that's that. That's your single target rotation. Sorry, we're going a little bit fast here, because I just kind of want to jump to the point. Alright, so if you do have Convergence, then you might want to sim yourself to make sure that this might be better to use, but technically it does sim higher for me, and that's only because I'm lucky and I have a 925. Convergence. If you're in this case, or if you're doing like Maiden or something, run Ravager, and then same thing. Just and here's also the trick with Ravager, is you need to actually delay it a second, and if you delay it for a second before hitting Battlecry, every single Ravager hit will be a crit, as opposed to if you hit Battlecry right away, the final hit, or maybe even final 2 hits, I believe, will not crit. And you're just kind of wasting a little bit of damage. It's not like a huge deal if you fuck it up, but I mean, those couple extra crit can go a long ways. So same thing here, single target with Convergence and Ravager. You're just going to want to charge in, hit Colossus Smash, apply Rend, throw down Ravager, wait a second, and then hit Battlecry, and then go into your rotation. And then execute, execute, mortal strike, execute, execute, mortal strike, Colossus Smash, execute, execute, mortal strike, or Colossus Smash, mortal strike, execute, execute, Colossus Smash, mortal strike. I'm getting really lucky here. So execute twice, and I didn't get a reset, so I'm gonna go ahead and refresh Rend, or put Rend on, because there's really no reason not to. I don't like not using it when I have it on. Same thing here, gonna go ahead and do this, and if you just keep getting resets like this, just ignore Rend. Only apply Rend when you're about to use your burst. Like if your burst is coming off cooldown, then apply Rend, but if you're not, like here, I'm gonna go ahead and refresh Rend, and then Colossus Smash, Mortal Strike, and then just continue with the rotation. And then here, my cooldowns are up, so, oh, my Colossus Smash got parried. Hold on, just gonna keep. So here we go, setting up burst, Colossus Smash, Rend, throw it on Ravager, wait a second, and then hit execute twice, and then your next Mortal Strike cast from Ravager will use those EPs for you. Execute, execute again, and then Colossus Smash. And then here again, I don't have a reset, so I'm going to go ahead and apply Rend again, and then use my Warbreaker as my free Colossus Smash. This is one thing that I feel like other guides don't really clarify too well on how to use Rend properly and execute. This might not be the 100% proper way. This is just how I do it, and I seem to do just fine. And always, as of course, if you're running out of rage or you need rage, go ahead and double charge out, and then continue with your rotation. So now, cleave rotation, or like how do I set up my AoE burst properly? And I'm also going to clear up the question of how you also properly use your Umbral Moonglaze, because this is something that a lot of people do wrong, and they just don't use it right. And using these right can actually squeeze extra damage in properly. So I'm going to go ahead and equip that really fast. And then I'm going to swap talents. Obviously, I forgot to go over talents too, I'm sorry. For single target, take Dauntless. Overpower is good. Just kind of use whatever you want, but I recommend Dauntless because it benefits you through the whole fight. As with Overpower, you don't use it during the execute phase unless you're completely out of rage and you have nothing to cast and your heroic leap is down with 2 charges down. That's really the only instance where you would use it. And basically, if you're wondering how do I use Overpower above 20%, like when I'm just doing my normal rotation, it basically is just higher priority over slam. So basically follow your same rotation, charge, hit Colossus Smash, then Rend, then Mortal Strike, and then once you're ready to start using Slam as a filler, just use your Overpower proc first, and then start using Slam. That's really all you do to use Overpower properly. So for any kind of AoE, and unless you know it is a pure single target fight, do not use Dauntless or Overpower. Always, always, always have Sweeping Strikes on. If you're leveling, questing, dungeoning, even if it's a high Tyrannical week, don't not have Sweeping Strikes on. The only time you should ever run Dauntless is like in a raid, which is, you know, like Tomb of Sargeras. If you're doing like Maiden or Goroth, those are the only bosses that you use that talent for. Other than that, always, always, always take Sweeping Strikes. If there's any kind of AoE, even on like Sisters, there's one little ad that's up for like 20 seconds. It's still worth it to take Sweeping Strikes to help cleave onto the ad and onto the boss. So always take that. And then for 30, just take double time. Shockwave's fine for Mythic Plus or whatever. Everything here is viable. Don't take Rend unless you're doing a single target fight or a high Tyrannical key. I'd recommend either Trauma or Avatar. Avatar is highly underrated for Arms. It's actually a lot better than Trauma in my opinion. And Avatar is my go-to pick for raids and high keys. Lower keys, I'd probably just take Trauma because the mobs don't really live that long enough to benefit fully from your Avatar. So, or if you're doing like Eye of Ashara on Tyrannical, I'd still probably take like Trauma just for the last boss for fun or something like that. And then take Bounding. Defensive stance is good for high Mythic Plus if you're trying to push a key and you need to survive mechanics. That's what it's there for. Second Wind's just really a leveling and open world talent. It's not that great. Always take Titanic Might. This is the best talent here. Fervor is good. Like I said, if you're running Fervor Trauma, it's good if you have low mastery, I believe, and if you're just leveling. But honestly, in my humble opinion, I really don't like that build. I think using Whirlwind as a filler in single target is stupid anyway, so that's just my opinion. And I just stick with Titanic Might. And anyway, Like I said, I personally prefer Avatar for things like this, but you can use either Trauma or Avatar. It's really personal preference. Trauma is overall more sustained, and then Avatar is more burst. So that's how you use that. Always take in for the kill. These other two talents suck. And always take Ravager in Mythic Plus regardless whether you have the helm or not, or Convergence or not. Always take Ravager in Mythic Plus. Alright, so this is how you do your proper AoE rotation and use your Moonglaives properly. So another tip that I want to include here that a lot of people don't do, if possible, unless you really need to get your burst out ASAP, you want to pre-cast cleave, and that's because you can fit 2 buffed whirlwinds. If you don't know, your cleave spell buffs your next whirlwind by each target hit. So here we go. And this is also going to show you how to use the Moonglaives properly. So, like if you're doing Desolate Host. Anyway, here we go. We're going to charge in, hit Moonglaives, cast Cleave, Warbreaker, throw down Ravager, wait that second, then I'm going to hit Colossus Smash, then Whirlwind to buff the next Mortal Strike, and then go into the AoE rotation, which always use Cleave if there's, people ask, oh, when is it worth it to cast Cleave? If there's 2 or more targets. Always. And then, same thing here with Sweeping Strikes. You want to put 2 Executioner's Precision stacks on, and then cast Colossus Smash and Mortal Strike. And honestly, also this is the other thing you should probably know. Try to maintain Colossus Smash on all your targets if you can. It can be kind of rough sometimes, but keep Colossus Smash up on both targets if you can. Or all 3 targets, depending on what it is. Alright. Here's another thing that I want to go over. I think one other guy that I watched, I don't know who it was from, I don't remember, it was a while ago. They showed this set off, and I was using it before I even saw it in this video, but what I do is I have an equipment set to swap out legendaries, and if you hold on, I can drop combat here. And that's the other tip I have, obviously make equipment sets. It helps. Nigenesis Vertebrae and Weight of the Earth, and you might be wondering, oh, why would I use those if I have the helm in the ring? So that last attempt, say my cooldowns are not up, just pretend these aren't up, and we're moving on to the next pack, and there's 3 or more mobs, and my cooldowns aren't going to be up for this pack anyway. Switch to these 2 legendaries and use them, because like your ring and your helm aren't really going to do anything anyway unless you get a ring proc. These legendaries they're useful for that situation. So my cooldowns are down. I'm going to go ahead and charge in, pre-cast Cleave, throw a Cleave on, and then I run out again, and then charge back in to get as much rage as possible, because if you don't know, Whirlwind uses a lot of rage, and you can't really sustain spamming it forever. So that's the other tip that I have, and then just switch to these legends. If you have them, just make this equipment set and use them. Trust me, it's worth it. If it wasn't worth it, I wouldn't recommend it. So, here's the other thing. Oh, how do I properly, do huge execute burst on multiple targets? It's the same thing. Just try to get 2 EPs on at least 3 targets. Warbreaker, throw down Ravager, wait that split second, and then go ahead and pop Battlecry, and I'll show you what I'm talking about right now, just to wrap it up. Hopefully we're not too far in, it's a little bit late. So, I'm just going to go ahead and charge in and get 2 EPs up, hit Warbreaker, wait a second, and then hit Battlecry, and then go into my rotation. Like this. So, fairly simple. I know I'm going really fast here, and I apologize. I just want to get straight to the point, because I feel like there's a little bit too much rambling in some other guys. No offense to any of those people. Just, I kind of came here to watch to see what you're doing, not hear your ramble on. So that's how you do that. And if I go ahead and look, if I did time it right, oh, I didn't actually time it right, but that first, I was a bit too late. But if you time it just right, everything should crit here. All the hits should be a crit if you time it just right. So you basically throw it down, and like halfway through the GCD timer, then hit Battlecry, I believe, is when you want to hit it. I'll try again. I'm kind of embarrassed I fucked it up on the first try. So same thing. Gonna go ahead, Warbreaker, looks like I timed it just right there. If you go ahead and look here again, all my Ravager hits were crits. So timing that right is it might take a little bit of time to get used to, and if you're fucking it up, don't worry, you'll get the hang of it. It took me some time, honestly, to get used to it, and it's, I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and obviously say it's worth it, because there's no reason to not try to time it properly when you're kind of just, I don't want to say wasting damage, but you're kind of wasting damage if you're not. I mean, it's, people might say, oh, it's one hit, but I mean, one hit could mean the difference, and you know, whether the boss doesn't die, or just push as much damage as you can. That's probably why you're watching a guide video. So I think that's everything. I can go into gear later. I guess I have pretty decent gear. I don't really feel very well itemized for my eye level, but that's I think that's all I got for you. If there's any questions, just leave them below. I'll try to get back to you to the best of my ability. I'm not like 100% know-it-all genius about the spec, but I feel like I know enough to get by and maybe pass information on to people that are new or coming back to the game. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Like I said again, if you have any questions or comments, leave them below and I'll try to answer them as soon as possible. Anyway, good luck out there and have fun.